कैसे हम।
राइट। पुनीत है कहाँ? यूट्यूब पे लाइव हो गया है।
यस सर।
हाँ, ये इधर मैं देख रहा हूँ दूसरी स्क्रीन पे, दूसरे सिस्टम पे मैंने यूट्यूब लगा रखा है, तो यूट्यूब पे लाइव आ गया है।
जब वॉइस आ रही है फिर मैं म्यूट कर रहा हूँ।
यूट्यूब पे।
गुड आफ्टरनून। सारे सारे वॉइस ऑफ कर दीजिए।
हम्म।
वॉइस सारे का ऑफ कर दीजिए।
डॉक्टर मल्होत्रा आ गए क्या? मेरी आवाज आ रही है? हाँ साहब, मेरी आवाज आ रही है? आ रही है ना?
जी
डॉक्टर
बिल्कुल क्लियर आ रही
धीरज
है।
डॉक्टर धीरज मल्होत्रा आए कि नहीं आए? हमारे प्रेसिडेंट साहब। फोन करके देखता हूँ उनको।
अभी नहीं आए।
आई। आई।
Recording in progress.
Hello. Very good afternoon, sir. Lakshman Singh here. Sir.
धीरज जी ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, बस आने दीजिए उनको तो शुरू करते हैं। हाँ, आ गए। गुड आफ्टरनून सर, धीरज जी।
नमस्कार सर, गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन।
तो अब आप आ गए हैं तो हमारे ख्याल से शुरू करना चाहिए हम।
जी जी जी।
Today we have webinar on digital human rights, and I request Dr. Dheeraj Malhotra to please present the introductory remarks.
Good evening, rather, each one of you. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to welcome all of you during this particular session on digital human rights, which is being hosted by the IoT Society of India, Lucknow. And the wonderful speakers today who are going to be delivering the concept note shall be Dr. Amandeep Singh. Welcome, sir, who is the Assistant Professor, Senior Skills at Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia National Law University in Lucknow. And another resource person for the day is, as a keynote speaker, Mr. Apoorv Agha, who is a business and management consultant, former in charge computer systems manager at High Court of Jurisdiction at Allahabad. I am really excited to go through the profile of these two wonderful speakers today. Dr. Amandeep Singh completed his PhD in law from Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia Law University in Lucknow. And he is also MCOM, MA, LLM, JRF Law, and NET Sociology, and presently serving as an assistant professor at the Ram Manohar Lohia National Law University in Lucknow. And he's also the director of RLMNU Incubation Foundation. Well, our another speaker, engineer Apoorv Agha, did his MSc in physics, master's in digital systems and human resource management. Also some certified diploma courses from Allahabad itself. And we initiate a great learning session today. On a professional front, he is a fellow Institution of Engineers, Electronics and Telecommunication, New Delhi, and Institute of Engineers, Kolkata, and a senior member of Computer Society of India, Mumbai. I welcome both of you along with our wonderful, I would say, Zoom partners to success. The topic today talks about human rights and that aspect of digital human rights, which is equally important these days. I take this opportunity to also welcome our fellow members from IoT Society of India, and over to Puri Saab for the niche. Thank you.
First of all, I would request Mr. Apoorv Agha for his lecture on digital human rights, introduction and concept. I will give you the profile of Mr. Apurva Aga in short. Mr. Aga did his MSc in Physics, ME in Digital Systems, and MBA in Human Resource Development. He has also done diploma and certificate courses in Computer Science and Management. He has a vast experience of 30 years as head of ICT Department of the High Court of Judicature at Allahabad. During his tenure, he was instrumental in computerization and digitization, design and development of computer center infrastructure, and application development of High Court, Allahabad, Lucknow Bench, and district courts of UP. On a professional front, he is fellow Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, New Delhi, Institution of Engineers, Kolkata, and senior member, Computer Society of India, Mumbai. He held responsibility as chairman, secretary, treasurer, and other important portfolios in various professional societies and associations. He has organized various conferences and workshops during his association with professional organizations. He is also Vice President of IoT Society of India. Now I request Engineer Apurva Aga to please deliver his lecture on digital human rights.
Thanks, Puri Saab. Sir, can you put that on the screen?
Yeah, पुनीत जी वो स्क्रीन पे डाल दीजिए.
That's all. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So Dr. Dheeraj Mehrotra, President, IoT Society of India. Keynote speaker, Dr. Amandeep Singh. Assistant Professor, Senior Scale, Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, National Law University, Lucknow. Dignitaries and members of various other institutions and societies in the audience. My colleagues from IoT Society of India, students online, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you. I have been tasked to introduce the theme of today's webinar, Digital Human Rights Safeguards to address the impact of IoT on human rights. Since today's time schedule is very tight, let me come straight to my business. So digital human rights refer to the extension of traditional human rights, such as privacy, freedom of expression, and access to information into the digital sphere. As digital technologies become integral to daily life, protecting human rights in the digital world has become essential. The rise of internet, social media, big data, and artificial intelligence has created new opportunities, but also brought about challenges such as data privacy violations, misinformation, surveillance, and algorithmic biases. As the digital human rights are an extension of human rights, let us first understand what do we mean by the basic human rights. Human rights are fundamental rights and freedoms that every individual is entitled to simply on being human. Now, human rights are not granted by any state. These universal rights are inherent to all of us, regardless of nationality, sex, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, language, or any other status. They are considered the basic standards for human dignity and equality, ensuring that everyone can live a life of freedom, safety, and respect. The human rights are typically divided into two categories. The first category includes civil and political rights. These rights protect individuals' freedoms and ensure participation in political and civic life without any discrimination. Right to life and liberty, freedom of expression, right to a fair trial, freedom from torture and slavery, right to privacy, freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, right to vote, fair public hearing, and last but not the least, innocent until proven guilty. Now, this is one area, the gray area, which is more used by the terrorists and terrorist organizations than the poor victims. And of course, the army. They lay down their lives, but their human rights are never considered above others. The second category includes economic, social, and cultural rights. These focus on ensuring basic needs and a decent standard of living. And these include right to education, right to work and fair wages, right to health care, right to an adequate standard of living, including food, water, and housing, right to participate in cultural life. Human rights are codified in international agreements such as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR in short, adopted by the United Nations in 1948, as well as in national laws and constitutions around the world. These rights are designed to protect individuals from abuse, discrimination, and inequality while promoting fairness, justice, and peace within societies. In fact, in the Second World War, the barbaric experience that the world experienced, the United Nations decided to adopt the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in the year 1948. So with that brief on the basic human rights, let us come back to our theme, the digital human rights. As we now know that digital human rights refer to extension of the traditional human rights into the digital sphere. As the internet, digital communication, and the technological advancements continue to play an integral part in everyday life, these rights ensure that individuals' freedoms, privacy, and dignity are upheld online as well as just as they are upheld offline. The concept is rooted in the idea that digital technologies must respect existing human rights as outlined in the international conventions like the UDHR. The key aspects of digital human rights include right to privacy and data protection, where the right to control and protect personal data and unlawful surveillance or data breaches are protected. Freedom of expression that includes right to freely express ideas and opinions online without censorship or restriction. Net neutrality refers to the right to equal access to online content and services without any discrimination or restriction. Digital inclusion, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of location or socioeconomic background, are protected from online discrimination and have equal access to digital technologies. Security and safety. This refers to the protection from online harassment, cyber attacks, cyberbullying, or other forms of digital exploitation and violence. Then we have digital literacy, where we have right to education and skill development for effective digital participation. Online assembly and association gives us ability to form and participate in online communities and associations, just like we are having right now through this IoT Society of India. Then remedy and redress, access to effective remedies and redress mechanisms for digital rights violation. So the concept emphasizes the need for governments, companies, and organizations to ensure that the digital platforms, services, and technologies are built with human rights in mind, and that the individuals can fully participate in the digital world without fear of repression, censorship, or exploitation. They are essential for promoting social justice, democracy, and human dignity in the digital age. With the increasing influence of artificial intelligence, social media, and big data, protecting digital human rights is becoming more and more critical and challenging with each advancement in the digital technologies. So we now take up what is the correlation between the Internet of Things and the digital human rights, which focuses on the precise scheme, the theme that we are going to take up today. The Internet of Things refers to the interconnected network of devices, sensors, and systems that communicate and exchange data. This can range from smart home devices to wearable health monitors. The growing presence of IoT in daily life creates unique challenges and opportunities in the realm of digital human rights. Privacy concerns. The IoT device collect a vast amount of data, often including personal information like location, health status, and behavior patterns. This raises concern about data privacy and the potential misuse of information. IoT can lead to constant surveillance, infringing on the individual's right to privacy if not protected and properly regulated. Regarding security, the IoT devices, due to their connectivity, are vulnerable to cyber attacks. A compromised IoT system can lead to data breaches, identity theft, or other forms of exploitation.
वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग में हो चुका है मैं अभी खत्म हो जाए
So, which can harm the user's safety and violate the right to security. Digital access and inclusion refers to the IoT devices can offer opportunities to improve access to services such as healthcare, education, and governance. However, Unequal access to IoT technologies due to socioeconomic disparities may further deepen the digital divide, infringing upon the right to equal access to technology. In autonomy and consent, IoT environment can operate autonomously, often collecting data without explicit user consent. So this creates a tension with the right to informed consent, where individuals should have control over how their data is collected, stored, and used. And the last point is freedom of expression and communication. IoT-enabled platforms for communication can enhance freedom of expression, but they may also be manipulated for surveillance or censorship, limiting an individual's ability to express opinions freely. In conclusion to this, we can say that the Internet of Things plays a significant role in the evolution of digital human rights, bringing both benefits and challenges, benefits on the positive side and challenges on the negative side. While it can improve connectivity, efficiency, and access to essential services, it also raises concern about privacy, security, and fairness. Therefore, balancing the technological growth of IoT with the protection of human rights online is crucial for creating an inclusive and secure digital society. Now we can talk about the digital human rights in the Indian and international landscape. Digital human rights, as we now know, that refers to extension of the traditional human rights to the digital environment that ensures people's freedom and protection are upheld online as they are upheld offline. With the increasing digitization of societies, the importance of safeguarding these rights has become a global concern. We'll explore the concept both in Indian and worldwide contexts. Some of the most critical digital human rights include right to privacy, freedom of expression, access to information, freedom from discrimination, and right to online security. In India, rapid digitization and internet penetration have raised new challenges for human rights. Key developments include right to privacy. We all know that in the landmark case Puttaswamy versus Union of India in 2017, the Supreme Court of India declared privacy as a fundamental right under the Constitution, affecting digital privacy laws, particularly in the light of initiatives like Aadhaar, India's biometric ID system. Aadhaar, the mandatory linkage of Aadhaar to various services such as banking and telecommunications raised concerns about data security and mass surveillance. While the Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of Aadhaar, it limited its mandatory use. Then we have data protection laws where India lacks comprehensive data protection law like the Europe. However, Digital Personal Data Protection Bill seeks to address data privacy and include provisions for consent to data breach reporting and right to the data principles. Freedom of expression. India has faced criticism for curbing free expression online through laws such as Section 66A of IT Act, which criminalized certain types of online speeches. Though the Supreme Court struck down in 2015, arrests and harassment under other legal frameworks persist. Not only that, in a survey, it has been found that even under the same Section 66A of IT Act, after it has been struck down by the Supreme Court, in many states, the police is taking action and registering cases in the under the same Section 66A. Now, internet shutdown is another area where India leads the world in internet shutdowns, especially in politically sensitive regions like Jammu and Kashmir. While often justifying it as a security measure, frequent shutdowns have raised concerns about limiting the right to free speech and access to information. We have digital divide, we have net neutrality, then cybersecurity and online harassment. With the rise of cyber threats, India has made strides in strengthening its cyber laws, including the Information Technology Act 2000, which addresses cybercrime and online fraud. However, online harassment, especially of women, remains a serious issue. Initiatives to curb cyberbullying, revenge porn, and online trolling have been launched, but enforcement still remains a challenge. In the global context, right to privacy, the countries are adopting stringent data protection laws in response to growing concern about surveillance and data misuse. The European Union's General Data Protection Regulation, the GDPR, is most comprehensive framework influencing laws worldwide. In countries like US, Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Service Surveillance Act, FISA, allows government to surveillance programs raising significant privacy concerns, especially post-Snowden revelations. Then we have freedom of expression. In countries like China, Iran, and North Korea, digital freedoms are tightly controlled with strict government surveillance, censorship, and limited access. Then we have social media regulations where government across the world have introduced or proposed regulations to control online platforms, aiming to reduce fake news, hate speech, and disinformation. However, there are concerns such regulations could be misused to suppress dissent. Then we have global digital divide and cybersecurity and online harassment, where the cyber attacks and digital crimes have increased globally, prompting governments to enact laws addressing hacking, identity theft, and online harassment. So, with all this, we see that there is a need for standardization. The challenges for future are surveillance and digital authoritarianism, where the governments across the world, both democratic and authoritarian, have ramped up digital surveillance, facial recognition technology, AI surveillance, and mass data collection by governments. Example, China's social credit system. They threaten individuals' freedom. Balancing security and rights. Then we have global governance of internet and emerging technologies and AI. The rise of artificial intelligence and automation raises new ethical concerns. AI algorithms may perpetuate biases, leading to discrimination in digital spaces. The global debate on how to regulate AI and ensure its use aligns with human rights is ongoing. In conclusion, we can finally say that the digital human rights are increasingly important aspect of global governance as the digital world becomes central to social, political, and economic life. While significant progress has been made, especially in terms of data protection and online freedoms, challenges such as government surveillance, internet shutdowns, cyber crimes, and digital inequality persist, both in India and worldwide. Safeguarding these rights in an ever evolving digital landscape remains critical for ensuring a free, open, and inclusive internet for all across the world. So, with this brief idea about the introduction to the digital human rights and the IoT devices, I would now like to hand over back to Puri Sahab for inviting our keynote speaker of the evening, Dr. Amandeep Singh, on the theme. Thank you, Puri Sahab.
Thank you, Aga Saab, for presenting introduction and concept of digital human rights. Now we switch over to our keynote speaker, Dr. Amandeep Singh. I will give you the brief profile of Dr. Amandeep Singh. Dr. Amandeep Singh completed his PhD in law from Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, National Law University, Lucknow. He also did MCom, MA in Sociology, LLM, GRF Law, and NET Sociology. He is presently serving as Assistant Professor, Senior Scale at Ram Manohar Lohia, National Law University, Lucknow. He is also Director of RML NLU Incubation Foundation. On a professional front, Dr. Amandeep is member of Indian Sociological Society, Computer Society of India, IoT Society of India, and SATET Foundation. He is also member of Debate and Discussion Committee, Legal Aid Committee, Pro Bono Club, Cultural Committee, and Cyber Committee of the university. Currently, he is pursuing research as a project director under a Human Rights Commission sponsored project, a study of issues and challenges of digital human rights in the state of Uttar Pradesh. His areas of interest are cyber law, environment law, media law, law and economics, and consumer law. As Dr. Amandeep is an expert on digital human rights and doing a lot of research on this topic, we requested him to deliver talk on his favorite subject, digital human rights. Dr. Amandeep, please.
Thank you, Puri sir. Is my PPT visible to everyone?
Yeah, started.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. First of all, I want to thanks Apurva Agaji for setting the tone for today's webinar. Before I start with my slides, let me thank the whole team of IoT Society of India for giving me this opportunity to interact on this important topic. A topic which is very near to me. Issues very nicely have been introduced by Mr. Aga. I would be just taking it further in the light of my own take on these specific issues. These are the three headings which I would be covering. I would be starting with my introduction. Then one by one, I would be talking about digital human rights. And then I would be coming up with my own remarks. So let's see what I would be covering under introduction. There are three things, there are 3 points which I would be covering. First, why should we talk about digital human rights? Secondly, what is so special about digital human rights? And third, why digital human rights matter? For this, friends, we have to see the scenario of today's world. What is the scenario that has developed in today's world? If we see, if we closely observe the developments that have taken place, what we find is that the internet is everywhere. It has become omnipresent. The internet has opened us a magical world of information. Information in today's world has become basis for modern social relations. When I say it has become basis for modern social relations, practically it means it has changed everything. It has changed the dimensions of every development around us. It has changed business, it has changed education, it has changed the governance, it has changed healthcare, and even the ways in which we interact with our loved ones. And let me share here that even there are lots of studies, IIM's research studies which say that creating better online visibility today has become one of the top 5 tactics to use for establishing personal brand. So this is how information is floating in cyberspace. Now, in the light of that, I want to relate internet with fundamental rights. Again, in line with what Apurva Agaji mentioned. Today, internet is a place where people communicate, they meet and congregate. It is a basic utility for people, communities, organizations, and institutions to accomplish all sorts of activities in all spheres of society. If I talk about business, then again, what we see that the focus is on right to work. If we talk about education, again, the concern is right to education. If we talk about government, governance, then again, the issue here is the right to take part in the government of a country. Again, this is the main concern with regard to governance. If we talk about healthcare, again, we come down to the right to highest attainable standard of health. Every society, every social unit demands this right. And then if we talk about interaction, again here the focus is on right to freedom of expression, right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. Meaning by the issue is that what we have to note here is what we have to take here is that access to the internet has become a fundamental need to fully realize all human rights and fundamental freedoms. So there is a the clear connection between internet and fundamental rights. Now, let me talk about digitalization of human rights. So, affordable, we all will agree to this point that affordable and knowledgeable access to the internet today has become a fundamental need to fully realize all human rights and fundamental freedoms, democracy, development, and social justice. So let me just give you a few examples. So first, we have democracy. If we talk about democracy, there are certain variables in the light of which we can see that how they are connected, how they have become dependent on cyberspace. So first is elections. We all know that in the recent years, in the recent decade, in every election, social media, internet has become very important. If we talk about mass media, again, the way media is working, media is functioning, again, that is not possible without internet. And then again, Arab Spring, the social movements which took place, Sudan uprising of 2010 and 2019, and then search engine manipulation. So all these developments, all these concerns, all these throw light on the fact that in today's democracy, internet dependence has gone really up. Secondly, we have development. If we talk about development, the focus is on different sectors. So if we take defense, if we take agriculture, if we talk about agriculture, if we talk about any industry, if we talk about service sector, if we talk about power sector, if we talk about transportation sector, meaning by I want to draw your attention towards that the critical infrastructures of every country in today's world has become dependent on internet. So the way in democracy, in elections, the way media works, the way movements are there which decide the voting pattern, and again the way search engine manipulation is taking place. And in the same sense, when we talk about development, we see that in every development, in all kind of development around us, whatever infrastructure that has developed, again that has become dependent on, that is today dependent on cyberspace. And again here, it again brings us more closer to this human rights in the digital world. And then we have another variable of human rights, that is social justice, wherein the focus is to promote equity. The focus is to promote access for all to opportunities which are there in the market. Then we all, you would have seen that there were lots of movements like Me Too movement, like Black Lives Matter. Then there are lots of movements related to LGBT community. So meaning by, if we talk about social justice, even in social justice, in the area of social justice, internet is playing a very important role. So what I want to share through this slide is the idea which I want to share with all of you is, well, if we talk about democracy, if we talk about development, if we talk about social justice, in all three, in these three, we have become totally dependent on internet. So here, the bottom line is that the full and universal enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedoms requires an effective realization of these rights also on the internet. So if we want to promote equity, if we want to give voice to different sections of the society, like the way it happened under Me Too movement, the way it happened under Black Lives Matter movement, like it has happened in different movements related to LGBT community, which have again promoted social justice in the society. Again, we all understand that how internet is used and how we have become dependent on internet. So internet has really become very important in this today's scenario. So what we see here is that digital technologies provide new means to advocate for, defend, and exercise human rights, and they affect all type of rights, which again, Agaji pointed out, civil and political as well as cultural, economic, and social rights. They shape how people access and share information, from their opinions, debate, and mobilize. They have deeply transformed the social dynamics. All right. But there is another side also, another side of the coin, that they are equally used to suppress, limit, and violate rights. For instance, through surveillance, through censorship, through online harassment, through algorithmic bias, and automated decision-making systems. So what we see here is, what I want to share with all of you is that internet has both sides. On one end, it is promoting certain freedoms, and on the other side, on the other extreme, it is being again used for limiting and violating rights. For examples, when we go for surveillance, censorship, online harassment, and different kind of biases, and again, that is another side of the story, another side of this important means of communication. So bottom line here is that digital transformation of human rights requires serious consideration. So I just wanted to introduce this topic with this bottom line, that digital transformation that has taken place, digital transformation of human rights that has taken place, it requires serious consideration. And again, for this, we would be covering one by one. There are different aspects. And again, here I want to share my own experience. I want to share my own take on these issues, which were introduced by Agaji. First of all, first I want to focus on universal and equal access. That is something very important in today's digital transformation. So we all agree that the way internet has grown, the way internet has penetrated into each and every sector of the development, uh, universal access to technology, universal and equal access to this internet is very important. So here there are lots of every section of the society. So any difference between rural sector and urban sector, the way they are important in cities, they are important in urban centers, and in the same manner they are important in rural areas, they are important in villages. At the same time, it is also important for differently abled persons. So I would be just sharing a few aspects related to universal and equal access. So when we talk about universal and equal access to this technology, there are few issues that come up. So first is that net neutrality and net equality. So internet, again, the way it has grown, the way it has expanded its horizon, it is a global commons, and the 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 defenders of human rights, the defenders of digital human rights, they are of view that the architecture of internet must be protected and promoted for it to be a vehicle of free, open, equal, and non-discriminating exchange of information, communication, and culture. There should be no special privileges for or obstacles against any party or content on economic, social, cultural, or political grounds. So meaning by that net neutrality has to be established, has to be maintained. Again, we all can see in this picture that with net neutrality, the situation, what is the situation, and if we won't have a net neutrality, again, for everything, there would be lots of obstacles. There would be lots of hurdles So, meaning by universal access is net neutrality concepts are important for universal access to internet. Then another issue here is digital inclusion. Digital inclusion requires that all people should have access to, and they should effectively use the range of digital media, the range of communication platforms that have become reality because of internet. So public internet access points shall be made available, such as telecenters, libraries, community centers, clinics, and schools. Access to the internet via mobile media must also be supported. Meaning by digital inclusion is something which promotes universal access, equal access to this medium, to this technology. Then I want to share one case study with you. Then I want to just share an example at how this, what are the who are the different people for which it is a serious concern. So here, one of the serious issue is that digital accessibility for disabled. And here in India, let me share with all of you that in India, there is an estimated population of 150 million persons with disabilities. They are facing challenges in accessing government services, apps, and websites due to inaccessibility issues. So for this, again, in the recent years, we came up with this Act, Persons with Disabilities Act 2016, which specifically refers to the ease of access to public utilities. Let me here point out that in the year 2015, in July 2015, the government came up with Digital India program, and where again the focus was to promote inclusion in governance. In every sector, I told you that internet has become omnipresent. Everywhere we have internet. For everything we have become dependent on internet. Every critical infrastructure of our country has become dependent on internet. In this new era, in this new digital era, again, how to access the websites, how to access the apps has become very important. And let me tell you, at one point, e-Pathshala, the websites like e-Pathshala, internet services like Ola, Bheem, Swiggy, they were lacking proper accessibility. All right. So meaning by that, they were the way they were designed, they were not in the condition to be easily accessed by disabled people. So again, losing their utility. So in this regard, the developments which are there are that World Wide Web Consortium, W3C, it has laid down Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.0. And again, in the light of this, even our Ministry of Information Technology, it has also come up with certain guidelines. And again, we have one more campaign also in this regard, Accessible India campaign. And again, here the focus is that websites which are there, the apps which are there, the devices which are there should be accessed, should be framed, should be designed in a manner that they can be easily accessed by the people with disabilities. Why web accessibility is important? So in this regard, there are three things which make web accessibility important. First is social equality. Social equality here means that accessible websites, if there will be accessible websites, it will ensure that people with disabilities, they will have equal rights to participate in any online community or events. So like for education, for jobs, for politics, or culture programs, they can be part of those programs. Secondly, supporting aging populations. Many people may experience changes in their physical capabilities. For example, over the years, with the age, we start experiencing issues with our eyes, issues with our hearing issues. So vision, hearing loss, one experiences, and then in that situation, at that point of time, web accessibility initiatives like this, the way they have been laid down by W3C, they have been laid down by METI, and they have been promoted under Accessible India campaign. These help these people stay connected and browse the net. And third point here is diverse communities. Web accessibility can also benefit diverse linguistic and cultural communities. For example, a clear and straightforward layout in plain language can help non-English speakers. So all these issues are there, all these points are there, which again make web accessibility quite important for the community at large. Then we have freedom of expression, information and communication. Again, these basic human rights are threatened on the internet. And again, as Agaji pointed out, that India records highest number of internet shutdowns globally in 2023. And the strange thing is that this is the 6th straight year wherein India has topped the list. Shutdowns in Manipur and Punjab last year, they have been again in 2022. They led to millions being cut off from the internet. So these basic human rights are threatened whenever there is an internet shutdown. And again, governments, they have their own reasons to block websites, social networks. And again, from a human rights point of view, this is a grave violation of their right to communication, free association. And again, censoring content is contrary to freedom of expression and information. Now, what I want to share in this regard is why there is so much fuss about it, why there is so much hue and cry about whenever there is any internet shutdown. So here, let me tell you that whenever there is any kind of shutdown, any kind of censorship, what happens is that it shifts democracy into darkness. Democracy again is something to be cherished. Democratic features, again, they make life meaningful. And again, in the light of this, what I want to share is that basically expressions lead to information, and information leads to knowledge, and knowledge leads to power. This is how it happens, how we reach the point of power. So first of all, like the issue here is that we keep on coming up with, basically we are inquisitive in nature. We keep on coming up with thoughts, and again, till those thoughts, they remain within our brain map, no one cares. But again, when we express those thoughts, again, on the basis of that expressions, informations are passed on, and on the basis of that information, knowledge will lead to knowledge, and attaining knowledge, we reach the point where we attain power. So this is how things happened. But when there is internet shutdown in today's digital era, everything is disturbed, because expressions are stopped, and again, this whole cycle is disturbed. So now in this regard, what I want to share is that internet shutdown, the way internet shutdown was happening, that was taken very seriously. And in this regard, the most popular, most important case is Anuradha Bhasin versus Union of India, wherein the focus was on the internet shutdown that was imposed in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So here, in this case, what the court came up with, it came up with test of necessity and proportionality, and it talked about, in clear terms, the court talked about that whenever there is any kind of internet shutdown, proper reasons have to be given, and it must be proportional. It must be necessary. Only then internet shutdown should be allowed. Otherwise, there should not be any kind of shutdown. So again, we come down to the point that right to internet access is one of the cherished digital human rights, and again, for which lots of discussions and deliberations have taken place, and still they are going on. Now coming to another aspect, that is privacy and data protection. So in this regard, let me start from basic, and that basic is that there is a digital footprint to almost every aspect of our life today. Where we go, with whom we communicate, what we buy, what we search, what we read, what we watch online, what health conditions we have. And government seeks access to these digital footprints with no regard to whether we are suspected or wrongdoing, and as a result, threatening our autonomy, threatening our dignity, and that threatens our basic democratic values. So privacy is something, data protection is something is very important in today's digital world. And let me tell you that whenever there is any kind of surveillance, and again, that is taken as interference with the right to privacy. So in this context, let me draw your attention towards this gentleman, Edward Snowden, and how Edward Snowden, when the whistle was blown by this individual, this person, way back in 2013. So the way internet was functioning, the internet was being monitored. It questioned the functioning, the governance of internet. And again, he revealed that how the US was doing surveillance of the heads of state, which had inbuilt programs, and how when routers were when switched on, again they had a beep on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, and they could extract data, whatever was there in their personal computers. So mass surveillance is something to be taken very seriously, because again we have we are totally dependent on internet. And again, if there would be mass surveillance, I do understand that at a time surveillance is required, but again that should not be that should be in the special cases. And if general surveillance, if we allow general surveillance, then again it is a grave violation of right to privacy. And again, these were the issues which cropped up when this with context of this Pegasus software also, which was developed by the Israeli company. And again, there were lots of hue and cry with respect to this software, that once that was installed, it could easily extract the data from any device, from the smartphones. Then we have another aspect, that is right to be forgotten. Right to be forgotten in this regard, that is very closely related with right to privacy. When we talk about right to privacy, so again in the year 2017, we had a very wonderful judgment, Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India. And again, in this, right to privacy was considered to be one of the fundamental right. And after this case, after this judgment, there were lots of developments again, which I want to share with all of you. And one of the development was with respect to right to be forgotten. Right to be forgotten, again, something that was talked about, that was implemented, that became popular in Europe, and now it was it was time for India to discuss about this right. And post this Puttaswamy case, there were certain cases which have focused on this right, again, which is very important. So I just want to share a few the facts of this case, Raut versus State of Odisha. In this case, on May 3rd, 2020, Subhranshu visited his classmate Rupali Amanta, and he raped her. Raut warned her not to disclose the incident to her family or the police, or else he would eliminate her and also make her intimate scenes viral on social media. He later created a fake Facebook profile in Amanta's name and uploaded videos of the incident. After the police intervened, Raut deleted the content from Facebook. Raut was charged with various offenses under IPC, under IT Act, and again for the crime which he committed. The court here focused on the point. The important point here is for us, for our discussion, is that the court focused on the impact on Amanta of the publication of the videos and images on Facebook and status of the right to be forgotten in India. And here the court commented that although he removed the Facebook video after the police intervention, but information in the public domain is like toothpaste. Once it is out of the tube, one can't get it back in. And once the information is in the public domain, it will never go away. So again, the point which we again keep on discussing that once something is in cyberspace, it keeps on floating. It is not deleted. So if we delete something from Facebook, again it is still there. So again, in the light of this, there was focus on what is the status of right to be forgotten in India. And again, here the utmost importance was given to this particular right. Another case is regarding right to be forgotten. Again, wherein right to be forgotten was given importance. This case is Joravar Singh Mundi versus Union of India. Here, the Delhi High Court acknowledged the right to be forgotten, considering a plea made by one Joravar Singh Mundi, an American citizen by birth but of Indian descent, who was charged in narcotics case in 2009 while visiting India, but was cleared by both the trial and the Delhi High Court. Mundi later returned to United States and studied law, and thereby informed the Delhi High Court that every time a potential employer ran a background check on him using Google, it led them to his judgment, which he blames for his lack of employment thus far. As a result, he requested that 3 websites, Google, India Kanun, and VLEX, should remove the judgments. Delhi High Court noted the irreparable harm that it may have done to Mundi's social life and career prospects. The judgment was ordered to be removed from Google's search results, and India Kanun was ordered to block the judgment from being accessed through using search engines such as Google and Yahoo. So, meaning by we all understand the importance of our information that is there on internet. And again, if false information is floating in cyberspace, if baseless allegations are floating in cyberspace, they may disturb one's social life, and that may disturb in various manners. In this case, he was not getting employment because of those judgments which were there on these websites. So whenever he used to apply anywhere, they used to search about him on internet, and every time they used to, because of the judgments which were there on internet, and he was not getting employment. So we can understand here that why how right to be forgotten is important in today's digital world. So again, this is another digital human rights which has gained lots of importance, which has gained lots of significance. Then we have right to anonymity. Right to anonymity and encryption of communications is particularly threatened in those countries that prohibit the sending of encrypted messages and communications, which is necessary for reliable and secure transactions on the internet. Stress here is on the point that human communications are evolving deeper into digital form. It should be critically considered that individuals' right to access information, regardless of frontiers, as guaranteed by Article 19 of UDHR and the Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, are being infringed upon with massive blocking, throttling, and filtering of the internet. So, meaning by anonymity should be provided. Though again, I understand that for the purpose of security, for the purpose of dealing with different cyber crimes, anonymity has to be compromised. But again, from the human rights point of view, again, much emphasis is on right to anonymity. And anonymity, again, they take it as something with which they would be, they want to enjoy the freedom or the liberty which internet provides to its users. So here the focus is on anonymity. Then another issue is protection of minors, again, which was talked about Agaji, that even children have to be protected. So in this regard, what I want to share with all of you is that 2/3 of the global population is online, and in this 1/3 of those are under the age of 18. All right. 1999 is a very special year. In this year, again, World Wide Web was invented, and again, that ARPANET became internet, and the way we have used internet that basically started in the year 1989. But let me tell you, it is also important for Convention on Children Rights. In the same year, 1989, that was the same year, and this uh, uh, there was Convention on Rights of the Child. So again, the people who wrote the convention had no idea of the changes that digital technology would bring to young people's lives. So in the same year, we had World Wide Web, Internet, invention of Internet, and in the same year we had UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. So again, at that point of time, it was not visualized that what would be the impact of digital technology on the lives of minors. So there are some issues like violence against children, children with disabilities. There are issues with respect to them. Then we have health, education, and well-being. So children should understand how the digital world works, who decides what they see, as well as what they can do on their phones and computers. This should be taught in school alongside technical skills. Parents should be encouraged to understand better what children want to do and want to do or explore information online. So in this regard, in this context, what I want to share with all of you is that all children and adults should know about children's rights in the digital world. So there are specific rights, again upon which we keep on working, and a more holistic and child-centric approach is needed, both from policy and technology, because the way internet has penetrated, even you would have seen that during lockdown. Again, earlier it was not common to give personal phones to students, to school going kids, but now the situation is, in today's scenario, kids, they have their personal phone, and again in which their teachers are sharing homework, and even they are using for tuitions. So and even they are using that to extract information online. So here again there are lots of issues pertaining to children online. And again, here what we see is that it throws light on the fact that there must be some standards, there must be some rights for children in the digital world. And again, no company, no organization, no institution shall be allowed to again come up with any development which may disturb minors. So this is this is what we want for kids, and there's a UN committee on the rights of the child, and again, utmost importance is given to kids, and how they have to participate, and they deserve a right to be safe online, and again they should have a right to play and rest. So all these are different variables pertaining to children rights in the digital world. Then we have another aspect, another important issue which we keep on talking about: online IPR protection. So authors must be guaranteed. Everything is in soft copy nowadays, so there are lots of issues pertaining to this. Initially, let me tell you, when internet was being promoted, the methods which were promoted, well, again they were not in a manner in which importance was given to IPR. And whether we talk about linking, whether we talk about framing, again the way it was being promoted, all that led to more and more IPR violation. But with the passage of time, laws have been amended, and again we have come down to the fact that we have understood the importance of a protection of IPR online, as every development is taking place online. So again, they must be recognized for their work, and they must be remunerated for their research, and again they have their own concerns. So there are lots of issues with regard to IPR protection. So these are
डॉक्टर अमनदीप इसको थोड़ा सा कट शॉर्ट कर लीजिए.
जी सर.
ठीक, रैप अप कर लीजिए. ठीक.
Then we have this right to liberty and security on the internet, and right to liberty. Again, here the issue is that on internet, this includes protection against all form of crimes and security of the internet. We all understand that in today's world, we have become prone to cyber crimes. So again, here there are lots of issues like harassment, cyber stalking. People are being the internet sites are being used for people trafficking. So, and even digital identity theft is taking place. So again, security of the internet and protection against all forms of crimes are another issue, which in line with Article 3 of the UDHR is important. Then we have right to development through the internet. And again, if we talk about right to development, we have some issues like poverty reduction and human development. We have environmental sustainability. So here the issues are that internet today has to play a very important role in realization of human rights, and in particularly in eradicating poverty, hunger, and diseases, and promoting gender equality, empowerment of women. So if we talk about different sectors, if we talk about different social segments of the society, then we all understand that for that, development is an important concern. And in this whole process, there are some issues which are there which have to be taken seriously, like disposal of e-waste, because as we are moving further in digital world, lots of e-waste is being generated, and again it has to be taken care because UDHR again, which shows light to the different rights which we have. It requires economic, social, cultural, and political development in order to be fully realized. And so these are the concerns with regard to development. Then we have protection of older persons in the digital environment. We all understand that whether we talk about e-commerce, whether we talk about e-governance, everyone has to thing has become online, gradually becoming online. And in this context, the older persons are not comfortable when it comes to use of digital devices. So that has to be taken into consideration. And we are working on this. We have a specific project wherein we are focusing on this point, wherein we are taking initiatives to make older persons comfortable with in the digital environment. Then we have guarantee of rights in digital environments. Here the focus is on e-governance, and e-governance means providing services online. And here public authorities, the onus is on public authorities. They should assess the prevailing administrative and procedure law to examine its adaptation to digital environment, and shall propose the necessary amendments to guarantee digital rights. So everything gradually is becoming online. E-governance is again growing its scope wise. So in this regard, even that can be only guaranteed when we would be giving importance to digital human rights. Only then citizens would be in a position to avail the e-governance facilities. Then we have digital rights in the use of neurotechnology. And here the thing is that brain is being mapped with lots of devices. So here the issue is of identity, so confidentiality, issues related to security of data. So here the issue is regarding guaranteeing the dignity of the person and non-discrimination. So meaning by the way we are developing, the way we have developed, the issue is that again the issue here is that how we can preserve individual's identity as a person's sense of self. So this should be taken care. Then we have freedom of religion and belief on the internet. And again, going by Article 18 of the UDHR, everyone has a right to freedom of thought, and religion conscience. And this rights includes freedom either alone or in community with others. And this right also includes freedom from religion. So again, here you would have seen that religious associations, they are using social media platforms to propagate their ideas. Then we have right to work on the internet. Here we have Article 23 of the UDHR. Everyone has the right to work, and on the internet, the right to work includes respect. The right to work includes respect for workers' rights. Everyone has a right to use the internet to form trade unions, including right to promote one's own interest and internet at the workplace. So any restriction on the internet use in the workplace shall be explicitly stated in staff or organization policies. So there must be a dedicated policy in this regard, and there must be some terms and conditions for surveillance of the internet use of employees. Until and unless they don't have policy, again that will be violation of their right to work on the internet in today's era. So again, if there are restrictions, if there is any kind of surveillance, so for that there must be proper terms and conditions. Again, this is what we propagate. This is what we promote. Then we have right to consumer protection on the internet. Another important issue, जो हमारा जो consumer protection है 2019 का जो हमारा आया है, again that was because of the fact that old consumer act was not in a position to deal with new realities. तो आज जो e-commerce को deal करने के लिए the new act which we have, again here we have e-commerce rules. So e-commerce must be regulated to ensure that consumers receive the same level of protection as they enjoy in non-electronic transactions. So earlier there were lots of cases pertaining to e-commerce, and again our law was silent. But again in today's world, in today's era, consumer rights include online consumers and includes the rights of online consumers. And again, rights to consumer protection on the internet has become very important. Then we have right to health and social services on the internet. The focus the focus is to have access to health related and social services on the internet. And again, we all understand that digital health is changing how we access medical care. Telemedicine, it is letting patients connecting with doctors from anywhere. Remote consultation, reliable guidance, treatment regimens, they are there to manage chronic conditions from home. So all this is in line with Article 25 of the UDHR. And again, it is another digital human right. Then we have right to appropriate and social international order for the internet. This is again a very important, and again this would be my final take in this regard, that if we go by the Article 28 of the UDHR, everyone is entitled to a social and international order in which the rights and freedoms they set forth in this declaration can be fully realized. So here the focus, my dear friends, is on the fact that governance of the internet must be for human rights. Internet governance must be driven by principles of openness, inclusiveness, and accountability, and it must be exercised in transparent and multilateral manner. I'm talking about internet governance. Please be clear with this fact that we must be very particular about internet governance. How internet is being governed. This is a very important issue because most of the countries which are there, they are at the receiving end. India, such a vast country, we are at the receiving end. What we are getting, what we are getting, that is being served by the IT giants, which are based in US. All right. So meaning we don't have much say in the internet governance. So until and unless there won't be openness, there won't be inclusiveness, there won't be accountability, there won't be transparency. Again, we cannot say that internet governance is taking nice shape. So the way internet governance takes place is very important, and we must have say in that. Civil society groups, again, technocrats, even academic institutions, they all must have say in internet governance. And here there is another point, another issue, that is multilingualism and pluralism on the internet. So if everything is in a particular language, in a particular style, then again that won't promote pluralism on the internet. So multilingualism, pluralism, and heterogeneous forms of cultural life that must be visible in both form and substance in internet. So if we really want to maintain a social and international order, and again, our different stakeholders must be involved. Then effective participation in internet governance in line with this point A and point B. Everyone, what I want to say is that everyone has a right to participate in the governance of the internet. If we are not participating in the governance of the internet, then again we would be at the receiving end. So this is my point. This is another right to appropriate social and international order for the internet. So now, in the light of this, what my take is, my remarks in this regard is that digital technologies design, development, and deployment, they started affecting the way in which human rights are exercised and protected. And in today's era, in today's scenario, artificial intelligence and neurotechnology is taking it it is making it more advanced. And again, human rights related to education and health, they are there to create new risks linked to privacy, freedom of thought, security, and safety, among others. So these development have started challenging our understanding of what it means to be a human. So to ensure that digital transformation remains human-centric, our focus must be, what I want to say is that digital transformation has taken place, but it should remain human-centric. Let me again be loud and clear in this fact that utmost importance has to be given to human rights, because human rights we enjoy because of being human. All right. So they are indispensable. They cannot be taken away from us. And the way IoT has developed, the way Internet of Things, the way smart devices have reached every nook and corner of the planet. In this digital transformation, it is very important to remain human-centric and rights-oriented. Human rights need to be incorporated throughout the life cycle of digital technologies. So digital technologies at every point, at the point where they are being planned, where they are being conceptualized, the time at which they are being introduced, the time at which they are being implemented, the way they are being being maintained, the way they are being updated, at every point of time, at every point, human rights should be taken into consideration.
Right,
so this
right,
is
Dr.
what I wanted to
Ramandeep.
share with all of you.
Can we open the question answer session?
Hanji, yeah, sir. So
Yeah, question
that's what from my
as well.
side.
Yeah,
If there is anything,
thank you,
there is
Dr.
any
Ramandeep, for a very informative talk on digital human rights and how it relates with IoT. That was a nice talk. Now we open the session for question answer. Anybody can ask a question.
Sir, can I start a question, sir?
Certainly.
Yes.
Just a simple question. Is there any effort of standardizing the digital human rights globally, and to what extent it has been successful till now?
See, in this regard, there have been lots of steps that have been taken, and most importantly, most important step in this regard was the step taken by UN. So UN has come up with a roadmap for digital cooperation, and one of the area is that they want to promote digital rights in line with human rights. Along with this, there is one more body called OECD, which is very important, a very important international body, which has come up with a charter in this regard. So there are, like this, like UN, like OECD, there are some international bodies which have come up with their own charter with regard to digital rights. Now the onus is on us. The onus is on different institutions. The onus is on different governments. How we should promote these rights in line with the charter that has been prepared by these international bodies, in line with the roadmap that UN has come up with. Even we have a special UN envoy in this regard that is dealing with digital technology. So These are few international developments which are there, in the light of which we are promoting, we are propagating, we are doing research in this regard.
Yeah, anybody else?
Sir, one more question, sir.
Sure.
Do we have any body like the ICJ, International Court of Justice, which has authority over the entire world regarding the digital human rights?
See, in this regard, let me tell you that there were concerns with respect to human rights. All right, plain human rights. If we draw a distinction between human rights and digital human rights, if we talk about human rights in simple terms, traditionally speaking, there were lots of concerns with regard to human rights violation. There were many issues with regard to human rights violations. All right, and I'm not saying that we were done with those violations, but simultaneously, over the period of time, we have reached a point where we have another set of human rights, digital human rights. All right. So again, the challenges remain the same. All right. Meaning by right to be forgotten, like around 10 years back, that was propounded in by the judiciary in Europe, in different countries. 10 years later, we are talking about right to be forgotten. Our high courts are now taking it seriously in the light of those judgments, in the light of foreign judgments. So here also, like ICJ, the bodies which are there, all right, they still face the same issues which were there. So there is no foolproof mechanism to deal with any violation of digital human rights as such.
Anybody else?
Thank you, sir.
So now I request Dr. Lakshman Singh to please present vote of thanks. Dr. Lakshman Singh is member of Governing Council of IoT Society of India, and he is the divisional chairman of our IoT division. So Dr. Lakshman Singh, please.
Very good evening to ladies and gentlemen. It is very great for me to have a vote of thanks and conclusion remark for this great seminar on digital human rights. As we are concluding our impactful webinar on digital human rights, hosted by IoT Society of India, Lucknow, I would like to extend our heartful gratitude to everyone who contributed to making this event a success. I have seen the whole webinar. More than 60 intellectuals and executives are there who are interacted with this platform to listen the very beautiful speech on our two speakers, respected Mr. Apurva Aga sir, who is the business and management consultant and former in charge computer center system manager, High Court Judiciary at Allahabad. We extend our sincere appreciation to Aga sir for his valuable contribution. Sir, your practical perspective on the digital rights with the judicial systems have added significant depth to our understanding for this critical issue. And right now we are listening to the very lengthy presentation for Dr. Amandeep Singh sir, who is the assistant professor from Ram Manohar Lohia Law University, Lucknow. He has engaged each aspect which is commonly related with the common people. Amandeep Singh has accompanied the keynote address. Your profound insight into the relationship between the digital technology, human rights have been both enlightened our inspirations. You have presented very good the safeguard to address the impact of IoT in the digital human rights, internet and fundamental rights. A lot of issues you have checked, as well as you have also addressed the global level, UN level issues to us. It is very sincere thanks for you, sir. I had heartful thanks to Mr. Puneet Pandey, Secretary of IoT Society of India, Lucknow chapter. Mr. Pandey, tireless effort and dedications to organize and coordinating this event have been instrumental to this success. Your commitment to promoting digital rights through this platform is deeply appreciated, sir. To all our participants, thank you for your active engagement and thoughtful questions. Your involvement in these discussions and drive meaningful dialogues. I would like to also express my gratitude to organizing team along with our Sir Puri sir, their technical support staff and their behind the scenes work to ensure that everything runs smooth on the Zoom. Normally we face any issue, any hitch in the Zoom platform when we are doing the online webinar. But throughout this webinar, we never face anything. That is a thank for this team also. And who don't know about me, myself, Lakshman, I am as the chairman for the IT Society of India, Chapter 11 for the Defense Technology for the IT Society of India. I am honored to oversee this event and witness such engaged discussion on topic paramount of the importance. Thank you all once for your participation and support. We look forward to your continued engagement in future initiatives. And it is very good initiative by Puri sir with this platform that we are listening the different aspects of the internet IoT. So this is a very new dimension to how the digital human rights can be used by the human rights. Thank you very much, Puri sir. And this platform is now handing over to Puri sir for final closing of this webinar. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much to all team.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshman Singh. Now, with the permission of the President and the participants, I close this webinar. Thank you very much to all.
Thank you, sir, and congratulations.